0. And we are live. Welcome to the Wisdom of 3 Behind the Veil.
And tonight you get 2 out of the 3. Our beloved Jelly Beans is relaxation time. And we are here at the ready to represent who we are and what we offer to.
Hi, Genocide.
So,
Genocide, let us know if we are wonky. We are having some internet connection, and I'm not sure if it's mine or if it's Carrie's internet that's being a bit wonky tonight. Jill did tell us that she will be on Bridging of the Gap tomorrow, so I think I said that right.
Yes, we.
Tomorrow, so I think I said that right.
Yes,
we're just gonna wait a couple minutes, see if anybody else joins us. I'm not seeing any comments. I can see you both. Excellent. Yeah. And hear us.
Yay!
That's excellent. Hi, Jessica. It looks like we have a couple people. Looks like there's 6 viewing. Say hello. Let us know you're here. It's Carrie and I tonight. Jill is taking a rest night. She will be on Bridging of the Gap tomorrow night, so you can catch her there. But we hope you all still stay around and join Carrie and I tonight for some readings and a little bit of talk about more with the angels. Carrie has a wonderful story she's going to be sharing with us tonight. And I am going to talk a little about Archangel Rizel and our first meeting.
Yay. So you get to hear some personal.
Hi, Angela.
Stories. And then we encourage anybody who's willing to, in hearing some of our stories, if you had something similar, to share that with us in the comments or message us directly afterwards. Or if you have any questions that come up as we are sharing our stories, please feel free to use the chat to ask those questions. Thank you to our moderators who are out there with your wrenches, keeping an eye on things and helping things go smoothly. We do ask that you guys gives us those thumbs up, like, share, spread the word if you're
do all those fun things.
Tell people about us. Let's get those eyeballs up. So happy Tuesday to everyone.
Happy Tuesday.
And Jessica says, I am here.
Closer and closer to the weekend, right? It's been quite a week already.
At the end of yesterday.
Oh, you see Nova out there on the porch. She's on her little chair.
Yeah, at the end of yesterday, I was like, okay, it's been a week already.
I know. I was talking to my daughter yesterday, and she's like, "Oh," I was like, "How was your day?" She's like, "It was Monday." I'm like, "I gotcha." 4 days closer to the weekend, honey. 4 days closer to the weekend.
Hello, SG. Welcome.
Hi, SG. Welcome. So while we're waiting for people to come on, Carrie, would you like to pull a card with me and give a general message for everybody while we're waiting for a few more? Because I want more to show up before you give you this little story of your archangel and your first meeting. So I'm just going to pull a card for the collective. Carrie, if you pull one before me, you go for it.
Jumped. Now I have to catch it.
Excellent.
Accelerated motion.
Ooh.
Look at that.
Do tell.
So pretty. So pretty. So the message I'm getting for the collective here, I kind of like there's a shooting star, which there's acceleration with the star, but it's almost what's coming to me is make that wish. You know, the wish upon a star and it shall come true. This is your wishing star. Like there's something that you're holding on to. There's something that you've wanted to see happen. There's something that you've wanted to have manifest. And what this is saying is, you know, this is your time. This is your season to make that request and petition known, to go forth and claim it as yours. Make that wish, hold that wish close to your heart, and you will see things coming forth with an accelerated motion.
Very good. Hopefully you guys can hear me and I'm not disconnected, but I got horsetail, patience. Isn't that card beautiful? Hopefully you guys can see it.
Oh, I love the star.
Look at all the colors in that
there too,
sticking out to you. Right? The star is very profound too. Yeah. So if we think of horsetail and the herb, it's connective tissue, bones, right? And when I feel that in my bones, what I'm getting is your foundation, right? So this is so funny, Carrie. But what I'm feeling is the vibration of our foundational belief system is being shooken up, right? The things that we were connected to, and it's funny because Carrie and I were talking about cutting cords and things like that before we came on. So those connections, right? The ones that are not serving us anymore, how do we release those? How do we let them go in a loving way, right? And if we think about it, a lot of people want to cut cords. I've always been a firm believer that we don't cut them because it's always leaving residue within ourselves or with them, right? So what we want to do, we want to extract that. And what are some things that we can do to extract that energy from us and fill that void now once you extract it? So if you cut it, it's still there, right? And it's going to connect again.
You got to cut it and
extract it. And then we fill that with light and love, then we're able to heal that. And we have to take a look. A lot of stuff is not our stuff when we're connected that way, but there's a piece of it, and it's discovering and unwrapping, if you will, or peeling back that onion to find out what piece of that is yours so that you can heal that. And the star really for me is significant, and the little seed up here. So and it also looks like a plug. Like you could definitely plug something up with that. But we don't want to plug it up, right? We want to fill that with as much energy from love, from source, from all that is pure and truth. So we'll fill that up with whatever energy source that you want to call from and fill that void or that gap or that extraction, whatever you want to call it, right? But you want to fill that with as much loving, healing light as you possibly can, and allowing yourself to witness what is yours in that story of what you're telling yourself that connective energy is about. Okay? So we all have a piece of it that is ours. It may not be the exact same thing that somebody else is doing or what we feel that energy means, but there's an essence of how we are doing it, how we are feeling. Something in there is resonating with us that is holding us to that energy, if that makes sense.
Most definitely. Most definitely. I think a lot of times people like the way that you just the analogy you used it, because a lot of people talk about cutting it and they cut and burn, cut and burn, but you really do. There's an extraction that has to help happen. So that's so profound.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense though, right?
Most,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, and as far as the star and the little dried seed here with the little
yeah,
things, so once you heal that, you know, you're not alone, right? There's
right.
always layers to it.
It's
There's new
always,
seeds to be planted. So remember that it's a continuous flow of energy, of work, and different layers that we go through. But every time we do that, we get a
as Jane
clearer
says,
picture.
that
We have
makes
a
sense.
more, um, yeah, a
Yeah.
better perspective and
Hmm.
understanding and knowledge, wisdom, if you will.
Yeah. You know, talking
So
about
yeah,
perspective,
that's my message for.
kind of jump off of the perspective
Mhm.
piece. This, in the last couple of days, I've been doing some of my own journey work and stuff like that. And there's a particular deity that I've have at times felt like I'm called to work with, but there's a part of her essence that can be intimidating to some, because if you don't know her, it can be intimidating. So this past weekend, I was working with some of the cards, and I was working with some of my guides and meditations, and I actually had the opportunity to see this particular deity in a different perspective. And so that's a step of that healing that needs to take place so that I can continue my work with her. So it's pretty cool when it happens that way. So there's the seed, there's the
Excellent.
the plant.
Yeah, excellent.
Well, it is
Excellent.
almost quarter past the hour already. How does time fly when we're having fun?
Oh,
So
wow. It does fly fast.
so for the month of June, we are focusing on angels. We shared a little bit of an introduction last week. Shared some of you had the opportunity for questions. A lot of people asked learn more about archangels, so we are going to talk more about some of that. Deb is going to do an introduction to one of them this evening. For me personally, I haven't studied angels in the way that and to the level that Deb and Jill have. But I do have a personal one-on-one encounter with an earth angel. And this was actually one of my first experiences in my life that I can recall. I'm sure I had some prior, but I was young. I was just shy of 5 years old when it happened. And this was my first very memorable, still sits with me, still resonates with me 40 plus years later. That it's still like very much a part of who I am. It's a part of where I'm at, and it's a part of my journey, and it's part of how I perceive and work with different angels, ancestors, guides, etc. So I was just shy of 5, or just right around 5 years old. And you have to understand, I grew up in a very tiny, rural, small town where back in the day, school bus stops were, at least if you weren't a mile away from your house, you got dropped off and you walked. Who remembers those days? Now you seem like you're stuck behind them. They stop at every house on the block. But time has changed, and I was in school. I was my first year of kindergarten, and yes, I repeated kindergarten. Um, so
Me too.
yeah, it's not a bad thing. It really isn't.
I did. I
It's really not.
know. Which is
All right, so
okay, right?
question. We're polling who else repeated kindergarten. Um,
That is so funny. We learned something new about each other.
um, and so the school bus stopped. I remember her. Her name was Miss Silva. I loved Miss Silva. Um, and I look back to this day, and I think Miss Silva was probably very much like one of us in the collective, and she probably was a witch of whatever standing. So she stopped the bus and she looked at me and she looked and my ride wasn't there. And she's like, she goes, "You'll be okay." Those were her words to me. "You'll be okay, sweetie. You know your way. You won't be alone." And so here I am, my little metal lunchbox and my little backpack, and I get off the bus and I start walking down the street. And we lived about 8/10 of a mile down the road. And it was a lot of woods. There's not a lot of houses. There weren't any houses. The road was partially paved, partially, a dirt road. And I just remember feeling so scared and starting to look towards, okay, my mom's not here to get me. What if my mom's not home? I have to walk. And as a young 5-year-old, 8/10 of a mile is a long walk. And so I had all these fears and emotions that started rising. And all of a sudden, there was a brilliant light. And through the light, a being stepped forward. Male, female, masculine, feminine, didn't make a difference. There was a being that came forward in pure light and peace. And all those fears and all those emotions and all those things that were boiling up in that moment dissipated. And I felt like I was floating on air. Literally felt like I was floating. And Miss Silva had told me, "You'll be okay. You won't be alone. You know the way." And then this being reached out their hand to me and said, "You are with me, child. You are okay. I will guide you the rest of the way." And we started to walk hand in hand on the road. The tears were gone. I could hear the birds chirping in the woods, and I could hear the rustling of the leaves as, the little critters went through. And I was really in a different level and perspective of what the world around me was at that time too, unlike anything I had experienced before. Short time later, I hear the sound of my mom's friend's truck coming down the road behind me. So and he said, "It's okay. Step to the side." This being step to this. And I stop, and the truck stops, and it's my mom's friend. And he goes, "Your mom called me and I couldn't get here. The truck wouldn't start. Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I'm fine. I'm with my friend." And he looked and was like, "No friend? Where's this friend?" And so I climbed in his truck and he brought me the rest of the way home, and he got to my house and, profoundly apologized to my mother because, the truck stopped. And but he said to my mom, he goes, "There was such a sense of peace about her when she got in the truck." And she said something about she was okay because she was with a friend, and I don't know who she was referring to. So some time had passed, and I'm walking with my mom, and we get to about the point in the road where I had this encounter, and I tried to explain it to my mom, and I love my mom. I love my mom so much, and I respect my mom, and I respect where she's at with her thoughts and choices. And I was 5, so she tried to influence me. And, and her interpretation or her perspective of my encounter was that I had an encounter with Jesus Christ, and that Jesus came to walk with me. And I respected that, but I knew that wasn't who I encountered in reality. And the more as I've grown, as I've learned, as I've reflected back on that moment and that day, and I have experiences to this day, it's always that same feeling. It's always that same sense. It's always that particular level. It's that change in my perspective. It's the there's a fragrance that comes with it. And it's always that same being who makes themselves known. Several years ago, I was driving on the New York Thruway. And as I was driving down the New York Thruway in the early morning hours prior to sunrise, the moon was still up. It was actually a full moon. I was driving, and if anybody's ever driven on the New York Thruway, upstate New York, they know how the truckers drive.
Oh.
I was in a Volvo, and I remember getting the sense of my being with me, my angel being with me. And I remember everything seemed to slow down. The perspective of time changed in that moment. And I saw from the other, like 6 lanes, because each one was 3, 6 lanes away, I saw a movement. I knew instinctively, intuitively that there's something was happening. Couldn't quite figure out what was happening. But I was obedient because I knew that presence. And I knew that the presence that was with me was going to keep me safe, was going to guide me through, just as they've promised me all the times before. And started braking, started slowing down, maintained my lane, kept my grip. Finally was able to recognize that it was a deer, and it was a very large deer. And I am in a little tiny Volkswagen. And even though I had already started the process of slowing down and time had changed, I knew impact was inevitable. And I remember the moment of impact happened, and I remember the deer hit my front of my car and started to come up towards the windshield. I watched this deer start coming up to the windshield, all of a sudden lift up and be thrown over the back of my car. I was in such an altered state, not because I was hurt, not because I was in shock, but because of what was happening spiritually for me. I remember thinking, okay, I need to pull over and see how bad the damage is. So I pull over onto the shoulder. I'm able to slow down enough, pull over, stop. And I get out and I look at the front of my car. I'm like, I think it might be totaled. Just like so nonchalantly get in my car, call 911. And I'm kind of living in this moment, but I'm still very much in that presence. I still know that my angel is with me. I still know that I'm being protected. Some trucks fly by. The officer pulls up behind me, and I see his lights, and I see him start doing the floodlight. And he comes up to my window, and he looks in my window, and he goes, where are you bleeding? Where are you cut? Where are you hurt? And I looked at him, I said, I'm fine. I said, my car is totaled, but I'm okay. And he had this look of astonishment. And he said to me, he goes, ma'am, I have been a New York trooper patrolling this stretch of highway for a very, very long time. And he said, if anybody could ever say they witnessed a perfect accident, you did. He goes, the deer is dead in the ditch 300 feet behind your vehicle. And not one trucker came up on you and hit you from behind. He goes, I am astonished that you don't have a mark on you. And I know, and I know, and I give full credit to the fact that it's my angel, and it's the work that I've done from the time I was 5 until, till that moment and forward. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Then what happened to the deer?
Unfortunately, it died on impact, most likely. But in all honesty, like going over that moment time and time again, I literally saw my angel on the front of my car kind of scoop it up and pick it up and throw it over. Because the damage was really, like, the damage was the very front of my car. You could see where it started to, you could actually see where it started sliding up on the hood of the car, which really astonished people, because when they're like, wait a minute, it hit here, it's sliding here, then where did it go? Well, it hit, it slid, and my angel picked it up and hurled it into the ditch so that another person couldn't be hurt by the deer or hit the deer in the road, or, exasperate the accident scene in any way, and
wow.
As the uncle said, if anybody had a perfect accident, guess it was me. But that's
Miracles
all.
do happen.
Yeah. And it goes, and
beautiful.
it's very, very, what's intriguing, I always know when the being is coming forward, when this angel's coming forward, because there's a very, very distinct scent that goes along with my angel. It's not like any scent. And I've embraced aromatherapy, and I've embraced an apothecary, and so I play with scents all the time. I play with scents. I cannot recreate the scent of my angel. There's this very, very, very distinct smell, and when this being's coming through, and when it's present, I know instinctively. I know by the smell I feel, the sense I have. It's like all my senses kind of kick in, overpower. But there's a very, very, very unique scent that goes along with it too.
Beautiful. Yeah, I have to say, like, when my angels show up, it varies with different ones. Never smelt one of them. I do smell family members, like there's certain scents that they have. And smell was actually the first thing when I was younger that connected me to something beyond myself, because I would smell certain things, and I would be able to connect it to different sensations in my body, different beings, angels, loved ones, whatever it happened to be. And I'm like listening to your story, and I'm like, I don't think, one of the things that happens to me is, I have profound moments, but like you and Jill remember everything. I am at a point in my life where I don't remember nothing until something triggers it. But I can remember the angel that I was going to talk about was Rizal, and it's funny because the second sense that I got was, and it could have been the first one. So the dreams and smells were like very heightened when I was a little girl. And I was very involved with nature. Like I was just always that little barefooted girl dancing in the rain, getting herself dirty, kind of like I am now, adults, but
bigger version of that little girl. With a whole lot more
and I
experience.
can remember, like, in a dream, this being came to me, and I knew it wasn't one of my loved ones that had passed, and I didn't know what it was. I was young, and but I always have, like, it's an image that always stuck with me. And I actually didn't think about it until last night when I was sitting there trying to, like, who do I want to talk about today? Who is it that I've really connected with beyond the regular archangels that everybody knows? And I was like, oh my God, Rizal. And when he came to me, so I step back a little bit. So when I dream of the future. And it can be years and years and years ahead of time. And I don't think anything of it until something triggers that memory, and I'll be like, oh my God, I dreamed about that. take
get the sense
9/11
of the
for
deja vu.
instance. I was probably, yeah. So 9/11, I probably was
Mm.
about maybe 5, 7 years old, and I had a dream. And I kept having this dream of airplanes crashing into buildings, crashing into my house, crashing, and just people, chaos.
Mm.
And, you know, my mom would try and soothe me, tell me it was just a nightmare. We all have nightmares, yada, yada, yada. When those towers went down and those planes, that's probably the only thing that I remember of my childhood. Like, honestly, it was like that dream came back to me and I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
That's what that dream was.
Yeah.
And it shook me to my core. So when anything like triggers it, that's how memories come back to me. So I put a lot of things because I was always um, taught to push those things out that they're nothing, they're nothing, they're nothing.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you build up this, I guess, blockage, this endurance to put things away. And it's something that I constantly try to work on. Um, but I have to say it's not something that, you know, something has to really trigger those memories for me. So as I was sitting there last night, um, and I was really focusing on it, the picture of Rizel came to me, but I couldn't remember his fucking name. And I was like, who are you? Who are you? So I literally had to Google, the archangel has a mustache. And it came up and I was like,
Thank
oh,
the gods and goddesses
oh,
for Google.
you know, because there's a few of them, right? And there's a few of them. But I knew exactly when I saw the picture, I was like, there you are, buddy, there you are. And so when I was going through a very difficult time in my adult life, a lot of change, a lot of chaos, I was in that space where I want to say my spiritual awakening. And I
Mm.
was like desperate, not even gonna lie. I was desperate for assistance. And I knew I wasn't crazy. I knew I had a lot of work to do. And his face showed up again. And he was like, I am here
Mm.
to work with you. Right. And he is actually the keeper of mysteries of God.
How
And
appropriate.
the book, he wrote, supposedly he wrote the book and he passed it on to Metatron, and Metatron supposedly passed it on to Noah. So anyways, there's a little
Mm.
biblical history on that one.
History, yeah. All those
But he
history
helps,
buffs.
yeah, but he helps unlock your creativity as well, right? Those blockages. And that's where, you know, I had no creativity that I knew of. But my creativity is my spiritual work. It's my healing. It's my hands on people and doing the massage work, and these things just all started unfolding. And he was with me every step of the way. And it's funny because he's coming back because I've been ignoring a lot of that in my life
Knock, knock,
since
knock,
I've
knock.
been here. And I
Yeah.
started a real job. Um,
Mm.
but nature speaking now. So they come to me of the nature spirits um, that are working with me because I'm in nature constantly when I'm
Yeah.
out on my property. Like, I'm not sure if you can see the
Oh,
trees
her
and things.
property is
It's
amazing. I haven't seen it in
it's
person. I just
beautiful.
know absolutely. And she's
It's
got
heaven on earth. I swear to God, it's heaven on earth. But Rizel can also help with like chronic illnesses. Um, oh, you know, finding your purpose and getting back to what really ignites your passion, what you're here put on earth to actually be doing. And when I start to ignore that, there's certain animals now that show up on my property that I have connected with in a certain way. And it's a sign like, okay, yeah. Like when I'm thinking about my oldest son and how he's doing, if I haven't heard from him in a while, where he kind of goes, you know, in his own little world, I will get a sign from a blue heron.
Mm-hmm.
And it will be telling me it's okay. He's going to be checking in soon. He's all right. He's just where he is.
He's
So
where he needs to be.
It's amazing how these things, you know, come to us in different ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Carrie, I shut off my YouTube comments because I thought it would help with my connection, but it's
Okay.
not. My connection is still wonky, so
You're
I
coming
can't see any of the comments.
Everything you're saying is coming through. There might be a little bit of a lag with movement, good. But everything you're saying is coming through without any problem.
Excellent.
So David Ibbotson joined us and he says hello. SG said that's beautiful. Jessica Frank, Carrie, amazing. Thank you for sharing. I severely apologize because I'm probably gonna botch your name. Hayatu Asala says hello with a heart smiley emoji. And
hello.
We welcome everybody who is here. We want to remind people to make sure they like the post. They want to make sure you're sharing it. Even after the live stream, it will be available for people to see. So if something resonated with you or you want to hear a story that either one of us has shared, again, because you're like, what was it that Deb was saying? Or what was it that Carrie was saying? Or what was it that Jilly Beans shared? Come back, review the clips because they're there. One of the things that we have started doing is when we do a particular guided meditation or a special message, we will condense that and put that out as part of our playlist. So check those out if you've ever enjoyed any of the meditations that have come so far, and trust us, there'll be a lot more coming. And Jessica said, Deborah, that was a cool story.
And always feel free to add more comments in there.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Add more comments.
And feel free to add comments, even if, yes. Girls. Don't be sassy.
Oh, come on, Mama. Mom.
I know. Miss Willow just joined the party. Miska can be a little territorial sometimes. But does anybody have any questions about the angels, our story? Yeah. Please ask away. We can pull some cards as well if you're interested in that. We pulled some cards in the beginning, so if you didn't see the collective message, you can always, again, review the video and check that out. And I just wanted to add, Jilly Bean will be on Bridging the Gap tomorrow.
She'll be on the show with Corey tomorrow night, and I'm sure she'll have some really cool things to share there. And we love when she has that.
Does anybody want a card?
Don't jump all at once. Come on, let's see some flow happening. Marianne, hi. I had not ever heard of the last angel you spoke about. How many angels are there? That's a good one for you, Deb.
Oh, there are a lot of angels.
There are.
How many? So each of us are born with an angel. Just to give you a little bit. Honestly, I do not know how many angels there is, because I have a card deck that has like 72 angels in there, and they're all different. And I do not know them all, so I'm not even going to pretend I do. But we have certain angels that work with us, certain birth angels that come in when we come into this plane. So there's more than we could possibly know out there. And if you know, have you connected with any of your angels? And if not, you know, start there, and they'll start connecting to you the way that you need healing, what energy that you need to sort of focus on for guidance. And there are certain angels that do help with different things. And you're more than welcome to, you know, throw it out there, and we can try and assist you on which angel to call forth for something specific that you're looking for. Again, Google is amazing for that too. If it's not something that you wanted to share, like say you know, if it's relationship or Rizel, his healing abilities are and I'm going to cheat and look at my notes because it's hard to memorize everything.
There's a lot
So
of information.
when you work with Archangel Rizel, yeah, some say he's healing energy to chronic mental and physical issues. If you suffer from an autoimmune disease, have tumors or growth, high blood pressure, or even chronic migraines, you call upon Rizel healing energy to calm and alleviate your symptoms. Rizel brings light upon any darkness. Thus, his knowledge provides clarity to any dark and uncertain situations. So they all do a magnitude of different things as well in healing. So definitely provides, you know, wisdom, knowledge. He's the keeper of mysteries with God. So
Marianne says, wow. And Marianne said, that is very interesting. Thank you. So SG, I know you asked for a reading as I was shuffling with you as my intention. I got two, so I'm going to go back to that in a second. So SG, please stand by because I do have two cards for you. Jessica shared, my guardians protected me when I went to a women's march in my area. When I arrived, I had a strong fear and paranoia that there was a sharpshooter. I was guided to a place that was a safe and secure spot since I thought I was being silly. 3 years later, I found out that there had been a shooter, but they had been caught last minute. That's amazing, Jess. And I wouldn't say the sense and perception of your sense that you got may have felt like strong fear and paranoia, but honey, that was your instinct and that was your intuition speaking. So way to listen to your instinct and intuition and, you know, work with your angels to be in a safe, secure spot. And thank the gods and goddesses that they caught the person before something really tragic happened at that event. And Jess also said, I'll take a card if there's time. So if you want to start shuffling for Jess, I will give SG her message. So SG, as I was reading through and watching the thread and I saw you pop up, I was shuffling my deck and two cards came forth. The first one that came forth for you was Danu and Assurance. And I want you to, you can really just kind of look at the picture of Danu here and look at the seedling that's in her hand and the new growth that's happening. The amazing light all around her that's encompassing her. But I also want you to notice the blue. Okay, so that's the first card, and that's Danu, and that's Assurance. The second card that came out with Danu is Metis, which is wisdom. She represents wisdom. So you have such an amazing glow around her crown and around her third eye. And there's just so much wisdom and light and energy just kind of radiating off of her. So with these two cards for you,
Beautiful
SG,
cards.
what I'm getting, the sense that I'm getting for you in this is that these two goddesses are coming to greet you. They're coming to give you a message that there is that seed that's been planted and that you've been watering and you've been kind of looking after for such a long time, and you've been trying to nurture and you've been trying to get it to grow. And every time you think it's going to start to bud, it kind of starts to close up again. Well, you need to have the assurance that now is the time, and now is the time. And you also have the wisdom to allow that thing and that gift to grow and open, the blossoms to come to full fruition, for that flower to rise up, and that creativity to start to manifest. So whatever it is that you have been kind of lingering in and reflecting on, and the sense I'm getting for you is that this is something that's been ongoing for a very, very long time. And it kind of comes to the surface, and then you push it back down, and it comes to the surface, and you push it back down, kind of like Deb was doing with her angel there, like she'd get in and stop forgetting about him, and then he'd come around and start knocking on her again and saying, hey, I'm here, don't forget about me. So that seed that you has been pressed down and pressed down and pressed down, it is time for that to come up through the soil. It's time for there to be growth. And you now are at a point in your life where you walked the walk, you've done the things, you've worked the work, and you have the wisdom, and you have the knowledge, and you have the power to really allow it to manifest and grow. I hope that makes sense for you, SG. Feel free to share anything if it resonates, or if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
I just want to add, if anybody else could take anything from that message, please feel free. If something resonated with you, there was a message there for you as well. Because it's a collective sort of type of collaborative way that angels work with us, spirit works with us. So definitely, if something resonated with you, allow yourself to take that as well as a message for you. So, and I pulled for Jess, right?
Yes, you pulled for Jess.
All right. So I pulled from two different decks for you. The first one was Wishing Well. You see that? So what sticks out to me is that crown, right? Not the crown, the mask, right? So I know we all went through a period of time when we wore face masks. Not me. I'm one of them. So the mask is like floating in gold. It's a gold mask, right? And what I'm getting is like you've been wishing and dreaming about something. You've set your intentions. You've done the manifestation. There's a dove now that's sticking out to me, and it's giving me that clarity and the butterflies. There's transformation that has happened in your life that has given you a deeper sense of, the word of peace is coming to me. So you're feeling this deeper sense of peace, but you're afraid to look away from that dream. You're afraid that if you turn your back on it, that it's not going to continue. So there's that essence that you're also blocking yourself from moving forward into that pathway, into that life. Okay? So I want you to feel that it's not necessarily about making a choice, but it's about trusting yourself, trusting your instincts, trusting your knowing, trusting your knowledge, your wisdom, and everything that you've put into making this dream a reality, because it's there, it's here, okay? It's not behind you, you're in it, okay? And it's not in the future, because you won't allow it to be in the future, if that makes sense. So for you to continue to allow yourself to keeping behind it because you're afraid if you take it fully on that you're going to lose that. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's kind of like that's how it's playing out for me. And hopefully that makes sense to you. The other card I got to kind of elaborate a little bit more on that is I mean, you can't make this shit up. I am willing to change, right? So it's changing your belief system that you're not worthy enough to move forward in this pathway. So the little message on the back is I am willing to release old negative beliefs. They are only thoughts that stand in my way. My new thoughts are positive and fulfilling. Your so how do I want to put this? Your work is more around seeing why you don't feel that you're worthy enough to step into this fully. What is it that you're blocking yourself from? Why are you blocking yourself from? And I know we have to hold up that mirror, we have to look around us, we have to see what those signs are, what the universe is putting in front of us. And a lot of times we can tell by the people that are around us and how we're feeling about them. What they're showing us will give us more insight on what we're blocking ourselves from. So by taking a look at that, maybe that will help you discover or uncover what it is that belief system is so that you can heal it. And hopefully, Jess, that makes sense to you. And if it doesn't, please ask me a question and I will try to elaborate a little bit more.
So SG said, thank you. Yes, I know what it means. And Jessica responded while you were speaking saying, oh, the trust is so hard for me because I want it so bad. And all of that hit home. Thanks, Deborah. So
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yay. So is there anybody else who would like a card pull tonight that is still with us? We would love to take the last 8 minutes or so that we have to be able to bring at least one or two messages forward for anybody who's open and willing to receive. David Ibbotson makes you think.
I am open and I am willing to receive.
I'm glad that you've been able to take stuff from this too. It's good to see other people be able
Excellent.
to from it. Somebody else who just listening.
And if so, the other thing is, if you don't want one of these like quick readings, know that Jill, Kerry, and we do private readings. So feel free to let us know if that's something that you're interested in. You can always email us at wisdomof3beyondtheveil@gmail.com and specify who you'd like a reading with. And we would set that up with you. So feel free to, book a private session. I know for myself, I do anywhere from typically less than an hour because I like to do it through Zoom and have that connection with the person, give the space, and allow that time. I can do it in 30 minutes. I can do an email reading if you don't want face-to-face contact. And I do animal communication as well. I don't promise that spirit's going to come through every single time, but I can pretty much say that 99% of the readings that I do, somebody always shows up.
Yeah. So you can reach me through our email as well. You can also find me through Mavis Cottage as well online. And on Facebook, where you can book with me directly that way. As a matter of fact, if anybody is in the New England area, I will be co-hosting an evening with Spirit at Mavis Cottage in Woonsocket, Rhode Island on Friday, July 26th, whatever that Friday is. Yeah, no, 28th. Sorry. Friday, July 28th. Mava and I will be working together to bring messages from Spirit to the people who join us in her shop that night. It will be private. It will be ticket purchase only. So check out Mava's Cottage. You can Google it and it will come up, and you can buy your tickets that way and find out more information. And you can connect with me either through our email or through that email. And I would be more than happy to do any readings. Again, I do quick card pulls for people. I do emails, messages, Facebook, FaceTime if you have an iPhone, Facebook Messenger, Zoom, Teams. I find a way to connect with you and with Spirit.
Excellent.
And Sharon says, great tonight, ladies.
Thank you for being so supportive always.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
We're holding it together, but we miss our jelly beans.
We do. If nobody has any questions or wants a card, we want to end it with a card for the collective.
Sure, as it just jumps.
You had a jumper?
I had a jumper, and it's throat chakra. So whatever is happening, whatever resonated with you from the meetings from today, whatever hit home for those of you that hit home with, it is now time for you to know your truth, hear, and speak your truth from here. Speak it, and it will be. They used to say, build it, and they will come. Speak it, and it will be.
And if you speak the truth, then it will be. If you doubt it, if you hear the negative Nelly in your head, work with it. Find the truth. Oh, goodness.
Yep.
All right. So we have two cards here. And I think this card comes up almost every single time we've done a live. I am at peace. Divine peace and harmony surrounds me and dwells in me. I feel tolerance, compassion, and for all people.
Are you there?
Oh, unstable internet connection. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I rejoice in what I have, and I know that fresh.
Looks like we have lost Deb, but her message that she was sharing with that that card has come up frequently, and it's peace. It's finding peace, and here she's back! Yay! Jessica,
what did you guys last hear?
That card comes up frequently, and it was peace.
Okay, did you hear the divine peace and harmony surrounded me? No. Okay, so let's start over again. Divine peace and harmony surrounded me and dwell in me. I feel tolerance, compassion, and love for all people, myself included. And the other card was, I open new doors to life. I rejoice in what I have, and I know that fresh new experiences are always ahead. I greet the new with open arms. I trust life to be wonderful.
Beautiful. And Jessica, go into this week and go into this experience and go into your direct message and the collective message with that same attitude that you are open to receive, and good things will be coming.
Ready and willing.
Ready, willing, open armed. Well, our dear friends, we have hit the hour mark, and we are just so grateful and blessed to have our faithful followers. And we are so excited about what the future holds for all of us as we continue to pursue and grow. And we just thank you. Like, share, spread the word. Peace and light to all. Good night.
Good night.